tone. Just us, 1, 2, 3.
Just us.
Just us.
Just us.
Just us.
Just us, 1, 2, 3. Just us.
Welcome back to another episode of the Just Us podcast. We're your hosts, Shazia and Timur.
Hello.
Today we are going to be going over a couple of events that we went to that were Warriors related. So not much about kind of the team and how they're doing, but we will get into that for a couple minutes. But then we'll go into the culture of, the events that we went to and the experience that we had. Does that sound good, Tam?
That sounds great. I was there, so I know how it went.
You do. Well, you know what? We both were there, but we had different experiences.
Very.
And we've kind of teased at these events that we went to during our game recaps, but we're going to do the full recap and analysis of our feelings, our thoughts, our, how we both experienced it individually and collectively.
Our fifis.
So it might take a while.
Yeah.
Because there were a lot of feelings.
Yeah.
Lots of feels. Let's talk about how the Warriors are doing, just for a minute or two. I know. Their record is 11-12, below 500, currently the 8th seed in the West. They're 7-3 at home and 4-9 on the road. The schedule is still pretty tough. As an example, this weekend that we're recording, there is another back-to-back. Is this like the 6th back-to-back this season? Mm-hmm. 6th or 7th back-to-back. It's insane. No other team has had this many back-to-backs so far in this season.
Adam Silver hates us.
Adam Silver does hate us. The Warriors are also plagued by injuries. Steph has hurt his quad. Draymond has a hurt ankle. Horford has sciatica and just old age. And Jimmy, I think his knee is banged up.
Horford has a pension.
Yeah, so basically the core group, the big three, Steph, Draymond, and Jimmy, all of them are out for now.
Thankfully, not severe injuries. It could be a lot worse. We could have been in the same situation as, I don't know, Pacers with Tyrese, ACL injury. We've got injuries that we are expected to have them back soon-ish. Steph should be back when they return from the road trip. Draymond might be playing today.
Is that a good idea?
I think the team is smart enough, or Rick Celebrini, who's the kind of like the man in charge of all the medical decisions being made. He's smart enough to know when you can and can't do it. I don't think they would risk Draymond aggravating an injury and making it much worse at this stage of the season. Jimmy played a little bit, and then post that game where he left halfway, there was a quote from, I think it was Steve Kerr, where he said, "It's not that serious." So it's unclear whether he's playing. Right now, it's unclear whether they're going to be playing today. But at the very least, it doesn't seem severe enough that we should be worried that our season is over because, all of these players, knock on wood.
Are you knocking on wood right now?
Very loudly and repeatedly. So, yeah, some injuries, but could be a lot worse.
Yeah, and I think there's been some bright spots with the core players out. Other players have stepped up. Some of them have returned from injury. We've had a few almost wins, right?
The worst kind of win.
The worst kind of win.
Oh, the
worst
worst
kind of
loss.
I don't know. Would you rather be blown out in a loss or almost win but then lose?
I was thinking about this the other day. I'd rather be... phrasing on this is insane. I'd rather be blown out.
So would I. Truthfully speaking, because it's more heartbreaking when you almost are there and you're up by 1 point with 6 seconds left and then you manage to lose the game. And when we're clawed back being down by 24 points.
At least when you're getting destroyed, you can mentally kind of check out and just do other things or make a decision. We've had that. Last season, there were a couple games where I was like, I'm not watching this. And I left within the first half of the game and just did not come back because it was too severe a beating. I was like, I know how this is going to go, so I'm not going to waste the next hour and a half to 2 hours watching this happen. With these ones, it's like you are holding on to hope for a really long time. It looks good for a little while. They're also the most exciting games, though.
True.
So you want to stick around for those because they're fun, but ultimately they are the hardest
Heartbreaking.
losses.
Yeah. Well, anyway, let's talk about the bright spots so far this season and just in the past few games. We've seen Pat Spencer doing really well.
He is a sun-sized bright spot right now.
Yeah, he's
a
great.
celestial entity on our team.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, let's just do a quick 30 seconds on who Pat Spencer is. So he's number 61 on the team.
He's an office employee
He
who moonlights as a basketball player.
Yeah, so he's currently serving as point guard, backup point guard for the Golden State Warriors. In college, he played Division I lacrosse and basically won the equivalent of the Heisman Trophy, but in lacrosse in 2019.
One of the best lacrosse players in the world, maybe of all time.
Yeah, and he led in basically all of the categories when he played college lacrosse, and he played for 4 years.
He's a Steph
won the
Curry of
national
lacrosse.
championship, and then he decided to extend his college career and opt into a 5th year, transferred schools, and played a sport that was his first love, which was basketball. So he played basketball in his 5th college year at Northwestern, and decided to declare for the draft. He went undrafted in 2021.
So no one wanted him,
So
basically.
sad. Yeah,
He's
no
like
one
Will
wanted
Smith
him.
in that one episode of Fresh Prince.
Oh.
Where he's like, why don't you want me, man?
Yeah, no one wanted Pat Spencer.
And, the
Which was-
Warriors were the Uncle Phil, and they embraced
Yeah.
him in tears.
And what happened was he decided to take his talents to Germany. So he played, I think it was a season in Germany, came back, played on the G League team for, I forget which team, but then he ended up on the Santa Cruz Warriors, which is the Warriors G League team, and made his way onto the Warriors roster. Was it 2 seasons ago?
Yes.
Yeah, and he currently is on a 2-way contract, which means that he doesn't have a guaranteed roster spot. As a 2-way player, it means that you play between the G League and the Warriors team, and you can only play 50 games.
And he's played a lot so far.
He's played about 23, 24 games.
Yeah, he's being used at a rate that most G League players on 2-way contracts wouldn't be. So the idea of a 50-game cap wouldn't be much of an issue.
But it
For
is in
most,
this
but
case.
he's so good that they're using him repeatedly. And it got to the point where this is very rare. I've never seen another coach in recent memory do this, where Steve Kerr was like, we need to get him on the team. Like, he actually said something about a business decision that he wants to see happen, which can be risky business, because if it doesn't happen now, that's going to be tricky.
There's no cap space, though. So basically, the Warriors are unable to sign him right now. They would have to wait for, I think, the trade deadline, which is in February. So they'll have to move around a few pieces if they want to sign him to a full-time position on the team.
I think they'll do it. I don't know how they'll do it. Maybe unfortunate, but LJ Cryer maybe, or something like
But
that.
he just got
signed, yeah. So maybe there's protection actually there. You know what? It's probably going to end up being pods being launched into the sun.
Well, here's the thing. Let's not speculate. I think what I just want to see is I want to see Pat Spencer continue doing well. So let's just hope that he can maintain this level of play so that when the time comes to make the decision, the coaching staff will do the right thing.
Correct. He's not played bad ever, I think. And since he, like, at least this season and most of last season, he's never put on a performance where you can be like, he's a net detriment. His plus minus is atrocious. There have been multiple other players on the team that have, unfortunately. So I think he's in a good standing to potentially get a spot.
Right. Let's talk about another bright spot, the return of DeAnthony Melton.
Yes.
Tam, you're a big fan
I love Melt.
of Melt.
He's great.
Why don't you talk about him?
So he's been around for what, a few years now. He's not technically considered. He's very young, I think. He's a veteran, but he's also not.
He looks like he has an old soul.
Yes, exactly.
He looks more mature, I think, than he actually is. I think he's still quite young.
He's not super tall, but he's got a ridiculous wingspan.
His wingspan is larger than taller than his height.
Yeah, so you don't expect him to be able to reach, and he will always reach. He did that in the last game, his first game back. He got into a passing lane when most other players wouldn't have been able to, poke the ball out and took it to the other side of the court for a layup. He was a key part of the initial run last season when he got signed to the Warriors. He was amazing while we had him. We were top of the world. We basically didn't lose any games. And then he injured himself against the Dallas Mavericks. It wasn't clear during the game that he had injured himself. He played until the end, as far as I can tell. I remember anyway. And then post-game, we learned that he had tore his ACL. And he was traded because he was basically not able to be played. So they traded him. I can't remember where they traded him to.
But he didn't play with them, right? Because he was injured. He didn't play the whole season.
He basically was out the entire season. And then when time came, the Warriors signed him back. And I think that was fortuitous, but I think they always wanted to do that to a degree as well.
I think it was their plan all along because we, ended up trading for Jimmy Butler, or we signed Jimmy Butler last season, and we needed that space in order to be able to do it.
Yep.
So that's why they, made the strategic decision to offload Melton pretty early on in the season.
Now he's back and he's immediately having an impact. Unfortunate that the game-winning layup, the layup that would have secured us a victory in the last game in a very, final second clutch. He had, less than a second to pull it off.
He had, 0.9 seconds
and he
to
did
shoot
get
it.
to the basket, and he did get the layup, and it
got
didn't go
blocked.
in. It got blocked, but also a fair few people have gone back and noted that he
was a
was
foul.
fouled on that, and it wasn't called and also it wasn't called because the opposing team, the 76ers, they got on the court immediately when there was still time left on the clock, which is technically an ejection for the entire bench, but didn't go that way.
Yeah, the refs aren't going to re-adjudicate that, even though they should.
Scott Foster wins again.
Once the game ends, that's that. And the referees will publish a final 2-minute report, things that they went wrong in the last 2 minutes. We should review that report for that game.
Yeah, but it's pointless. They just SARS LMAO where we can't do anything about it.
When I saw that last play where Melt got blocked, I immediately yelled goaltending because the shot was a high arcing layup because he was already in the paint. He just had to throw it up, right? Because he only had 0.9 seconds. I felt like it had already reached the apex and got blocked as it was coming down, but everything happened so fast that no one had time to react to it.
Well, the other thing is he got sent careening off the court into the back where the press were, which is did anyone not notice that momentum and consider worth hey, we should look at why that happened. But it's the end of very last play. It moved so fast that no one could really do anything about it. Yeah. But the point of the story is he's doing great. Yeah. He's coming back. He's already having an impact. He's trusted by a lot of the players who played with him just for a little bit at the start of the previous season.
And he's being trusted by the coaching staff, right? He got to play in those last few minutes on his first game back after an entire year.
Exactly, yeah. And he played a lot of minutes as well. They wanted to keep him at around 20. I think he might have played more than that, but the fact that I think Kerr afterwards talked about how much he loves Melton as a two-way player, and it shows.
All right, let's talk about Seth Curry.
The other Curry. Yeah. He's
Steph Curry's brother, the true Splash Brothers, right?
Yeah, they are now the genetic Splash Brothers.
Yeah.
He came on and was pretty spectacular in the last game. Was that last
2 games ago?
2 games ago. 2 games ago, he came on and was incredible. He just immediately started sinking threes, filling some of that role that Steph would have done were he playing. The previous game, he wasn't as good. Couple of turnovers here and there, but still produced points for us when we needed. And very aggressive. He's an aggressive player, which I like. He's very... In that way, he's very different from Steph, where he's willing to push other players before he gets pushed. Steph kind of has resigned himself to knowing that people are going to treat him in a way that is illegal according to the rules, but no one will stop him. So he doesn't focus on back and forth. He just focuses on getting the job done, which is very stoic of him.
What I've noticed is I think there's a lot more flow in the game when Steph Curry is on the court.
Yeah.
I think Seth, I've noticed, has succumbed to ball watching a little bit. He doesn't move as much as some of the other guards on our team. Yeah. So I do think that with time will come more of that rhythm of the two-man guard game that the Warriors love to play.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see him involved in some more actions there.
I want to see him play more with Jimmy.
Yeah,
That will be interesting.
definitely.
Yeah, but they're all three bright spots. I think if the team can get healthy again and have some more practices, like not a lot has changed since they came, back to Chase and left again. They haven't had a lot of practices with the entire squad there. So, fingers crossed, but we have the pieces to make it happen. There's still some ongoing discussions about what could go on in the trade period, which is coming up rapidly. There's some discussions about certain players we'll talk about later. But there is scope to make not a major move, but a move that could improve the team.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that towards the end, but let's get to our main topics. The main topics for today, we're going to talk about meeting the 1975 Warriors championship team, and then we'll talk about the Jimmy Butler shoe release.
Yes.
So we experienced both of those things. Let's talk about the championship team first.
The Olden State Warriors.
The true Olden State Warriors. So this year is the 50th championship anniversary for the 1974-75 Warriors team. The Warriors overall have won 7 NBA titles, which is the third most in league history. Do you want to guess all the years that they've won? Don't look at the notes. Let's see if you remember.
I don't remember them, no, because they're numbers, and
well,
as I am incapable of remembering.
I just told you one of them.
1975.
Yes, correct.
75,
Okay, you got
yeah,
one.
Yeah.
Okay, what year did we beat the Boston Celtics in recent history?
I can't tell you the years.
It was the year that we met.
Yeah, I know. But
oh, you don't remember the year we met?
2023?
No.
2024?
No.
2022?
Yes.
I have number dyslexia. You're like, you know this, and you're still like putting me into a position where I have to recall numbers.
Let me not then. Okay, so you got 2. You got 2 out of the 7. The others were 1947, 1956, 2015, and then the back-to-back 2017, 2018 years.
Mm-hmm.
So the 2015 win is kind of right in between all of that. It was the first time that the organization won their first West Coast championship. So for those of you who don't know, the Warriors used to be the Philadelphia Warriors.
Yeah.
I don't recall what year they moved over to the Bay, but this was their first West Coast win.
Yes.
Which was really cool. The whole night, and this was Friday, November 21st, the whole night was a celebration to honor the team, right? Because you don't get to celebrate, like a 50th anniversary where, some of the players were there and are still alive, right? And
looking
can
healthy.
Still celebrate. They really wanted to do that for the team. I thought it was really special. They did like a lot of features during the game, during timeouts and halftime, and like some recognition and things like that.
They did kind of like a ring ceremony style thing at one point as well, where they were holding up the trophy and that kind of stuff.
And they all had matching T-shirts, which I thought was so cute. So all the living members of the Warriors team were there for the celebration. So I think there was we met 7 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Rick Barry is the most well-known out of those players. But who were some of the other players that were part of the celebration?
Butch Beard was there. Charles Dudley, George Johnson, Jeff Mullins was there. Clifford Ray and Jamal Wilkes. Unfortunately, Alvin Adels, the head coach of that team, passed away last year, but his son was there, Alvin Adels Jr.
Yeah, Al Adels was a really big figure within the Warriors organization for many, many years. He served as the head coach for 13 seasons. And he played actually 11 seasons on the Warriors. So he went from being a player to a coach and unfortunately passed away last year.
There's a huge mural of him in Chase Center where there's like a corner of one of the floors where it's basically these really cool murals of people who have had a significant impact on the Warriors, past, present. Like Steph is on there, KD is on there, and various other, Steve Kerr obviously, and he's one of the ones that is also on there as well. Baron Davis I think is on there as well. And is Rick Barry on there?
I'm not sure, but Rick Barry is the most well-known, I think, player from that 1975 team.
Mm-hmm.
And you may know Rick Barry as the player who shot underhand free throws.
Yeah, the grandma shot.
The granny shot. if you ever get the chance to play basketball and shoot free throws, try a granny shot. It's a lot of fun. He was really good at them.
Yeah, people were big mad at the fact that he was doing that. They still are. When people see modern NBA or basketball enjoyers see him do it, they're like, "What the hell? There was someone that did this."
Yeah.
It was him. He was legendary. But yeah, he was there. He was the first person we spoke to and got an autograph from. So we went to the game early.
Yeah, so let's start from the beginning. So I got an email. I read a lot of emails. I read almost every email that I receive.
It's crazy. All the spam.
That are Warriors related.
Okay.
Not spam emails. I read all the Warriors emails, and I saw that they were doing, for this night, a special kind of meet and greet for the players before the game. So I was like, Tam, we have to leave early. Like, let's go, like, line up. Let's see what it's all about. So we got to Thrive City earlier. Thrive City is the area right outside of Chase Center. They have like the team store. They have shops. They have restaurants, bars, etc. So we go to the team store, which is where they said the event was going to be held. And there was already a line forming outside. We were maybe like 20th or 30th in line.
There were two lines, which was confusing. There was one line that was going into
the store,
but like the side entrance to the store where the signing was, and then there was a very closely positioned another line to just go into the front of the store. So at one point it looked like we were in between two lines, and there were a couple of people that got confused and eventually came back to the right
a
line.
lot of people were confused. And
because also the new jersey was available around then, I think, and so people were like going into, or there were discounts on the old stuff, so people were going into the store as well.
And a lot of people walked by asking us what we were waiting in line for.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, for like the 1975 championship team. And they're like, oh,
who?
Interesting. I think people thought you had to buy tickets
Yeah.
to go to this, which you didn't. It was free, which was cool. We didn't know at all what the format was going to be like.
No.
So we brought a small ball with us, so a really small basketball. That's what we like to get signed by players when we get the opportunity.
We have that one small ball that we use for the current team.
Yes, and we have Draymond Green and Steve Kerr's autograph on there.
We're waiting for Steph.
We're waiting for Steph.
GP2. We need some more.
We do need some more. But we took a blank ball. But it was cool because it had the Warriors logo from that era, the 1975 logo. So we were really excited, but didn't know if they would end up signing it for us because no one told us what the format would be, how many people there would be, like what the protocol was. So we waited in line for, like an hour?
Yeah, it was about an hour.
About an hour. The doors had already opened to go into the game, so I was like stressing out a bit because we do like to see Steph Curry's warm up, but this was, I think, superseded that for us in that moment. So we go inside the store, and there's a lot of media there. There are a lot of people swarming a long table where 7 of the players were lined up doing autographs.
Yeah, seated.
Yeah, seated, doing autographs, and there was a special commemorative team picture that they were all signing, which was really cool because we got a copy of that, one each, and then we also were giving our ball to the players to get signed, and we thankfully got each of them to sign it. But the first player to sign it was Rick Barry.
Yes, Rick Barry was
first in line.
Slightly upset as a man.
He
someone described him as a curmudgeon,
yeah.
Which I think is apt, provided that you take away any sort of negative connotation on our part, because it wasn't really we weren't offended by him, but he seems like he's just kind of one of those people who's over it, but isn't like a nasty person. He's just a bit weird.
He didn't want to be there.
No, and I wouldn't say that unless the thing that happened later between him and Kalena didn't happen, because then he got onto a broadcast with Kalena Azubuike, former Warrior player, and currently on the broadcast team, calls most of our games, and said some real disrespectful things about Kalena to his face, clearly misinterpreting what Kalena was saying, but his response was kind of yeah, you're of a negative mindset kind of person, and that's why you reacted and interpreted what Kalena was saying in that way. So if that hadn't happened, I would have been a little more kind to him, but he seems like he didn't want to be there.
Yeah, he was the only, everyone else was so nice and kind and
happy
talking to us and excited to see us. And it was cool. They were all wearing their championship rings. the rings back in the day, like it looked very vintage. The rings these days are very blingy,
Yeah.
lots of diamonds. Theirs were more simple, but it was still really nice to see kind of the evolution of the ring and that they all still have them and obviously cherish them. And they were all wearing, matching hats and shirts. And you could tell that a lot of them are still friends and
Yes.
hang out, right? Because they were like talking to each other. They used each other's nicknames, like they were hanging out. A lot of times they were talking amongst themselves more than they were talking to us.
Yeah, they were
which is
talking
fine.
about events that they had been to together recently and like hanging out and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So
Not Rick Barry though. Rick Barry.
No,
was
Rick
talking
Barry
about
was just
nothing to
like-
no one.
he was just there.
Yeah.
He was fulfilling an obligation.
Yeah, he's getting paid.
Yeah, he's getting paid to do this. What was your favorite part of getting their autographs and meeting the team?
I think it was the guy who was in the line behind us who said he flew from Hawaii. I think it was Hawaii.
It was Hong Kong, I
Hong
thought.
Kong.
Yeah.
He's going to Hawaii afterwards. He flew from Hong Kong because he followed that team and had like signatures from a bunch of them. And it was fun because like he clearly cared about them and they knew him. So he was clearly one of like the fans from that era that was recognizable or since then has been kind of making himself a presence in the history of the Warriors, that team. So they recognized him and they asked him, "Oh, what are you doing? You know, when did you get here, etc., etc." That was really nice to see. And he was middle-aged. He didn't seem like he was like super old or anything, or maybe he just looks good for his age. But I thought that was really
I
interesting.
mean, he must be the same age as the team.
Yeah, exactly. And
I think the team is like, they're in their 80s. 70s?
yeah,
70s or
I think,
80s? Yeah.
He looked good for his age, but it just kind of was nice to see that, people are holding on to some history for the Warriors.
Yeah, people brought vintage memorabilia from that era. So people had like trading cards.
Yeah.
You know, they had different things that they wanted
Jerseys.
to get autographed. You had jerseys from that era.
It kind of I looked at it and I was like, that could be us years in the future.
Exactly.
Coming to
Like,
see,
this was a
like
big-
Steph and Draymond and
Exactly. Like, this was a big deal for a lot of people. Like, we thought it was a big deal too, but we didn't watch those players play.
no.
Right? Like, yeah, in 50 years, maybe that's going to be, no, 50, maybe like 30 years, that's going to
That'll
be
be
us
us trying to get like Draymond's autograph and Steph's autographs.
if we
and-
don't already have them. But we would go, like, for example, we would go to a celebration to commemorate the championship team.
Exactly, 100%. Because we've seen those championships.
Exactly.
It means a lot.
So it was a really nice event. I had a lot of fun. It was like we try to meet as many players as we can.
Yeah.
Right? If it makes sense. It was nice that this was a free event because for a lot of other events where you want to get autographs from players, you do have to pay.
Yeah.
And for this one, we didn't. And it was like a very exclusive meet and greet.
Accidentally exclusive because people didn't really know about it.
Exactly. How many people do you think went overall? Maybe like 100?
I think like 100 in front of us.
200?
Yeah, it was like 100. I think like maybe it had to have. There couldn't have been any more because the team then showed up very soon after on the court. So they would have had to have left shortly after we left.
Yeah, they only did autographs for about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And the line was going pretty slowly because as they were signing items, they were very uncoordinated. So they were like handing off, the team photo to the next guy and the guy after, and then they were talking and
Yeah,
they were
they're
like
losing track of what
they were
I'd
losing track
signed
of
or
what they were
who's
doing.
what. There was one point where I got to the end of the table and the guy held up like 3 different pictures and I was like, none
We'll
of those
just
are
take
mine, dude.
we'll just take whichever one.
Yeah, I just took one and moved on. But yeah, they kept losing track of things. And also, there was a lot of Warriors PR that were kind of in and out. They were trying to keep things moving, but they were also trying to take pictures, and it became a bit chaotic at points. But yeah, it worked out fine.
Yeah. And as I mentioned, the whole night was focused around this era and this team. So all of the music was from the 70s.
Yeah, they were doing 70s dances on the dance cam stuff.
Yeah, like the team, the dance team and the Hardwood Classics and all the, in-between performances that happen during timeouts and halftime and
Franco
whatnot.
and what's her name again? The new one? I forgot her name. The new
Ari.
Ari. They were dressed like they were from that era as well, using fashion trends from that era. Ari had like a crazy afro, which looked really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and then after the first quarter, they did the on-court recognition of the team. So all of those players went onto the court, and they, named them one by one, and they all got to, wave to the audience. Yeah. And yeah, it was really special. I'm glad we were there for that game.
Yeah, it was nice. Did we win that game?
It was against the Blazers, and I don't know. I don't think we did.
I don't think we did.
I remember thinking like, oh, I can't believe we lost that game. What an embarrassment, because like the OG team is there watching. I'm pretty sure we lost that game.
Yeah.
We've lost a lot this season.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's that. Is there anything else we want to say about that team?
No.
I'd like to learn more, I think.
Yeah.
Now that we've met a few of the players, I'd like to learn more about their history and their legacy. Maybe we could watch a few old games.
Yeah, maybe.
Would that be cool?
Yeah, that could be cool.
Yeah.
Maybe once this season's over.
Okay.
And like,
Summer project.
Summer project when we don't have any basketball and we're slowly slipping into madness.
Into depression, yeah. Okay, we'll do that later. Okay, well, let's talk about Mr. Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Buckets.
All right, so Jimmy Butler, he released his new shoes, the JB4s.
Mm-hmm.
So he has 3 other, I guess, shoe lines with the same company. Li-Ning.
Chinese company.
It's a Chinese company. He's one of a few NBA players who, opted not to work with Nike or Adidas or, New Balance or whomever. He went with a Chinese company, similar to Clay, and I think he works with Anta. But yeah, Jimmy Butler works with Li-Ning, and his shoes are pretty cool.
Yeah.
They look very futuristic. They're performance shoes for, I think they're called for aggressive players, like that, get a lot of use out of their shoes.
And there's a guy on YouTube that I watch who kind of pulls apart sneakers. And when I say pulls apart, he uses a knife to cut them in half through the middle so he can look at the construction properly. And he did that with these JB4s. And you'd expect, it's just a gimmick shoe. But he came away and said, no, these are great shoes if you want to play in them. They're super good. And they're comfortable as well. And they have this material that slowly molds itself around your feet to be better over time. And once I watched that video, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. He was inspired by things such as The Dark Knight and Batman and Robin, just to an homage to his dynamic with Steph Curry, where Steph Curry's obviously Batman, Jimmy is Robin. Steph actually was kind of gifted the JB4s a few days before they officially released. And he wore them during a warm-up, which Jimmy was not expecting.
No. That's during the event that we went to, Jimmy talked about how he did not know that Steph was going to wear it. So effectively, Steph debuted
the shoes for him.
Jimmy's JB4s on the court.
That's incredible.
Anyone else?
That's
good PR.
A star like Steph wearing your shoe, that's automatic marketing.
Sales are skyrocketing.
Exactly. So we went to an event. It was on November 23rd. At Nice Kicks, which is a shoe store on Haight Street in San Francisco. Really vibey, cool neighborhood. I found out about this through social media. I forget exactly how, but I told Tam, I said, let's go check it out.
Yeah. It was on the same day as we were planning to go to another event, the block party for the launch of the new the jerseys, the town jerseys that are in the brown color. So
we were double booked that day.
Yeah. So we were going, but this one was the one we kind of thought, we'll pop along, do this quickly, and then go to the other one.
Yeah, there was no guarantee we would see Jimmy Butler. We just thought, let's go check out his new shoes.
There never is, really. And we were expecting, at best, we'll be able to get a picture of him from afar, which is good enough for us. If we're lucky, we might be able to get something signed.
Yeah.
If we were lucky.
We went in with pretty low expectations.
Yeah.
Okay. We get into line. There's already a line outside the shoe store.
Big line.
We were maybe the 40th in line. And as time went on, the line wrapped around the block and we couldn't even see the end of the line. It was that long.
Yeah.
So we waited in line maybe about 2 hours before we knew what exactly was happening. And even then, I think it was still really unclear.
Yeah, it was because the people who are working the event walk by, and every now and then someone would pipe up and just as they're walking by ask them a question. And they each answer seemed to contradict the previous answer, and it wasn't clear what was going on. And so it wasn't, at one point people thought that Jimmy wasn't even coming, which was wild. But then it was just a case of no one really knew what was going to happen. So we just stayed there and thought, best case scenario was fine for us.
We stayed there. It was fine. The weather wasn't too bad. So I brought snacks and water, and I knew we would be waiting a long time. So we were both very prepared for that. we finally get instructions.
Mm-hmm.
The instructions are you can go into the store and buy a pair of shoes in order to get a raffle ticket. Okay, and the raffle ticket, it was very unclear what that was for, but it was basically like a few raffle tickets will be selected for something.
Yeah.
Okay. So we wait a little longer. People in front of us are going into the store. I had no idea what to expect. I just thought that like someone would hand us a pair of shoes, we would buy them and then leave.
Yeah.
But it was way better than that.
Yeah.
They had full like activations. You go into the store and Jimmy's shoes are everywhere, lining every wall. There's a huge picture of him in the back. Posters. They had like a inspo board. They had like a station where they were making t-shirts and printing t-shirts. There were a lot of people there to help. A lot of it was Jimmy Butler's media team that was there,
and also
documenting the event.
They had the new shoes, but they also had some of his older shoes. The older lines were also on display. The kind of inspiration board had pictures of like Two-Face from Batman on there. So it's leaning into that, which I'm not sure if they got permission to do that. So hopefully no one at DC or Warner Brothers knew that was happening, but who knows? But yeah, they had loads of like licensed inspiration stuff there. They had like cars, pictures of cars and that kind of stuff. Yeah, and like the back corner was like a area which is designed for kind of photo ops, I guess, with a giant Jimmy Butler mural in the back or a photo in the back, which was nice. And then the t-shirts were basically free to anyone who purchased something. So if you got you bought anything in store, you'd also get a free t-shirt.
Exactly. So they were, really trying to encourage people to buy shoes, but at no point did we feel pressured to buy anything, right? But as a reminder, you needed to buy a pair of shoes in order to get a raffle ticket.
For some reason.
So Tam tried on the black Dark Knight shoes, which were so sleek. I loved those shoes on you. I thought they were really cool, but were they too tight?
They were too loose.
Oh, they were too loose.
They were too loose. And as a Batman fan, those were the colors that I wanted, was the Dark Knight black ones.
Yeah, but they didn't have your size, unfortunately.
No, they did not.
They did have your size in the kind of white, like metallic and blue shoes.
Yeah. Still look
which
good, those.
Are very like Warriors themed, right? So you tried those on. I have a video of you trying on the shoes.
They fit well. A guy with a giant camera from the media team took a picture of my feet, which I was like,
that's extra.
That people have to pay for that, and you're getting a free foot shot here. So you better be happy with that.
Yeah, I decided to forego a pair of Li-Ning JB4s because they cost $200 each. So we decided, Tam, you're the one that plays basketball more than I do these days. Let's get you a good pair of shoes. So we go to the checkout, and you run to go get one of the free shirts.
Yeah.
So in that time, I paid for them and I got a raffle ticket. And I was like, this raffle ticket better be worth something. So I hung on to it really tight, put it in my pocket. And then we went outside.
There was a lot of people standing. It was everyone who got a raffle ticket and paid for something was just hanging around outside. And it was, again, unclear what the raffle ticket was for.
Very unclear. And what's funny is they're like, yeah, we'll pick we'll pick some raffle tickets at 1:00. And I look at my watch and it was like 12:59.
Yeah.
But they didn't pick the raffle tickets for like another 30 minutes, 45 minutes. They wanted to give everyone a chance to go in and buy something and get a raffle ticket.
Yeah.
So we waited, and at that time I started to fade. I was like, damn, I'm so hungry. I have to go to the bathroom. Like, I'm so tired. We're like, should we just leave?
Yeah.
At that point, I was like, my back hurt from like standing on the concrete. I was like, I want to go home. Yeah. But what did you tell me?
I was like, I don't remember what I said, but I think it's something to the effect of, we might not get a chance to do something like this again, so let's just hang out for a little bit.
Yeah.
But I wasn't like, we have to do it. I was like, if you want to go, we can go, but obviously, who knows? Might get something out of it. Maybe
is what we thought.
Yeah.
So again, the waiting game, we stand there, and then they finally start to gather people around to select raffle tickets.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh, there's no way we're gonna win.
There was a lot of people by that point.
There were so many people, maybe hundreds. I want to say
a couple of hundreds.
Yeah, a couple hundred people there. So they call a couple raffle tickets. I'm just like, there's no way.
Yeah.
They call the third number, and what happened?
Well, you just started screaming immediately. I had like ringing in the left side of my left ear.
I did scream.
Because you just screamed. What was it like?
I said, that's us! Yay!
That's my ticket.
Yeah, so I did scream because it's like just so unexpected to win a raffle.
I told you this after, but I felt like we had a good chance because there was a lot of people, but it wasn't a crazy amount of people. It's not like where you're trying to get something free or like win a prize in a stadium full of people, which is what it's like every time we go to a Warriors game. There was just enough of a pool where it was unlikely, but also there's a decent chance.
And I had just won a raffle earlier that week.
Yeah.
So I was feeling lucky, but also not lucky because I was like, I used all my,
Good
good
luck.
energy on, winning that other raffle. So I thought it was pretty unlikely. But when we won, I was like really excited. They gathered up the raffle winners. It was only like 10 or 15 out of like over 200. So chances were pretty slim, but we ended up winning. They broke us up into 3 groups of 5 people each, and they put us in different stations. So we got to re-enter the store, and the station that we were at was called the checkout station. And how they explained it to us was basically when Jimmy arrived, whenever he was going to arrive, he would basically package up our pair of shoes, which we had already bought, and hand them to us.
Yeah.
So it was like a
There's
photo op
for him.
photo op for his media team, like him basically packaging shoes and giving them to customers.
Yes.
I was like, that's kind of like interesting.
Yeah.
Sounded kind of lame.
Yeah.
But I was like, whatever chance we get, like, I don't care. I just want to be close to Jimmy Butler and like get a fist bump from him. Like that would be the coolest thing for me is to get to interact with Jimmy.
He's a superstar of the modern NBA.
Yeah.
So it's pretty impressive if you manage something like that.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about the moment he arrived?
Oh yeah, it was chaos. We were inside and it was chaos. Like because we were inside, you could suddenly tell when he was there because there was a
Uproar
where people started gathering and shouting, "Jimmy, Jimmy, Jimmy." So I was like, okay, here he is. And he walked in. He had his kids with him, which is cute. The kids were very, very cute and up to no good, which was funny.
It was very strategic. He brought his kids because I feel like then he didn't have to sign autographs. He didn't have to interact with anyone. People are very respectful of celebrities and stars when they're with their kids.
Kind of.
For the most part.
For the most part.
Like, for example, I saw Mike Dunleavy Jr. at Salt and Straw a while back with his kids. And I was like, I'd love to talk to him, love to say hi, would like to get a picture with him. But I was like, he's with his kids. Like, let him have his time. Right? So anyway, he was with his kids who are very, very, very cute. Yeah. He walks to kind of the back of the store where that Step and Repeat was set up, his big mural.
What do I call it? Step and Repeat?
Step and Repeat.
Yeah.
And what was he doing back there? So
he was just taking photos.
Okay, so I was waiting in line, right? And I told him, I was like, just go. I was like, you go take pictures of him, like try and blend in, like do whatever. Like I'll hold our place in line here.
Yeah.
So
it was mostly
you went,
press there.
Mostly
I was
press.
Like, I can look
you
like
were
press.
the only. You looked like press because you were wearing your big face hat. We wore our Just Us podcast shirts that you had printed out, so we looked pretty official.
And as someone who has done a lot of like press events, because I'm in the press in another industry, I knew how to like look like I'm press basically, and I know how to move around and whose eye you don't want to catch, whose eye you want to catch, how to maneuver around. If you make eye contact with someone who's on, like the organization team, how to react to not give something away. I knew how to act like I've been there before because I, in fact, have been there before.
You navigated it very well.
Yeah.
Whereas I was like, I can't do that, so I'll just wait here. You go be the person that gets the cool video.
Yeah, and I was like standing basically at the front of the group of press. So I was like within touching distance.
You were within a foot of him basically for an hour.
Close to an hour, yeah.
Which
just
was
taking
amazing.
pictures and like that kind of stuff.
So after he was done with that portion, Jimmy Butler walks towards the register, which is our
As it was
portion.
wrapping up, I came back to line up with you.
Yeah. And Jimmy Butler walks past us. Okay, like literally right in front of our eyes, and he gives you a fist bump.
Yeah, I stuck my hand out.
Oh my God, and I caught it on video.
And he like fist bumped me. I was like, oh, that's cool.
That was amazing.
Yeah,
I was like,
nice.
If we leave here with just that moment, like I think we're both happy.
Yeah. I haven't washed my hands since.
Yes, you did.
It still smells like Jimmy Butler, and I smell it every night.
Okay, that's a little creepy, but
You're just jealous.
yeah, I am. Well, no, I'm not because I also
Got a fist
ended up getting a fist bump
Yeah.
later. So we waited in this checkout line, and there were 3 people in front of us. We were, I think, we were the third people in line.
Yeah. One of the
out of
one of
5.
the group in front of us was basically a family that somehow got a raffle ticket without purchasing an item.
They bought a T-shirt, I think, which
I
is
don't think
the T-shirts
so.
were free.
The T-shirts were free because the guy who was like, "Oh, what did you buy? Like, let me take it off you." And they were like, "We haven't got anything," but they had a raffle ticket, and he was like, "You got to buy something if you
they
want
made
it."
them buy a pair of shoes,
Yeah,
$200 shoes.
Yeah,
So anyway, we already had our $200 shoes.
yeah. We already
We were prepared.
contributed to Jimmy Butler's millions.
So essentially, the staff took our shoes and then put them in a stack next to Jimmy, and his job was to put them into a bag and hand them to us.
Yeah. And he could identify. They identified who's who based on sizes.
Exactly.
So I was the size 11 shoe.
Yeah.
That they kept coming at me like, size 11. I was like, yeah, that's me.
Yep. So we were third in line. We start to walk towards the register. This was the really cool part. And what did Jimmy say?
Well, he leans down. He picks up the size 11 shoes, and I'm standing in front of him. You're standing next to me.
Yeah.
And then he goes, "Oh, size 11s."
And I was like, "That's
and
us."
And then that's us. And this 6-foot man looks down and goes, "You ain't wearing a size 11." And he points directly at you.
Yeah.
He's like, "You don't wear size 11s." And then
and I was
you
like,
said,
"You're
"Oh,
right.
you're
He
right. I
does."
don't. He does." And he points at me. You point at me, and he was like, "Oh, you're. These are yours." I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "And you're supporting him."
Yeah.
And he said, "You're supporting him," and you said, "Yeah." And he was like, "Okay, that makes sense."
Yeah,
now."
he was funny. Like, I'm glad we got a little interaction with him. He's a funny guy.
Yeah, he was
He's
having a good
playful,
time. He was
very
playing, yeah,
playful.
he was enjoying it.
Very much lives his life and plays basketball with joy.
Yeah, he
Similar
was
to Steph
genuinely
Curry.
joyful. Like, it wasn't fake.
It wasn't
kind of like
fake.
celebrity. I'm being, cordial and nice. Like, he was cracking jokes and that kind of stuff. And so, like, yeah, he made a fun jab at us, and then put the
shoe in the bag.
the fries in the bag.
Yep.
And
handed it to us, and then I got a fist bump, and you got another
I
fist
got a
bump.
second
You got
fist
two
bump.
fist bumps.
So that was on my other hand. So I have not washed my hands, either of them, in so long.
Gross. But that was our experience, and so
That was it for us. That was where it ended. Should have. Anyway.
that's where it should have ended, because we should have walked out the door,
Yeah, that
right?
was it.
Because we were right near the checkout. They were kind of ushering us out, and I said, "Tam, do not leave."
Yeah.
I said, "Turn around. We're going back into the store. Like, let's just wait over here discreetly."
So his next stop was the middle of the store, where another group of raffle ticket winners were waiting for him to come and do a t-shirt printing thing. So they had a t-shirt printer there with the ink, and you lay the t-shirt down, there's a stencil on top, and then you push the ink over the stencil manually, and then back down, and it prints on the t-shirt.
Right. So that was the activation for the second group of raffle
And it's
ticket
very
winners.
hot there. They're like a hot
Very
stuff.
hot. So we just decided to go in that area, and he came by to that area, and you got so much good footage of
Yeah,
him.
he
You
was
were within
standing
a
right
foot.
next to me again.
And I kind of hung back a bit, because I now had like a huge bag. The shoes are heavy, by the way. And I had a huge shopping bag with the shoes in them. I was trying to minimize my footprint so people wouldn't like force me to leave the store. Because at that point, there weren't very many people there.
No, it was mostly press and
It was
his
all
team
press.
and just a few remaining customers who were either buying something or were part of the raffle ticket.
Exactly. So he was having fun with those raffle ticket winners printing shirts. He was really impressed by the t-shirt making process.
Yeah, he did it. I feel like he's the kind of person who loves to experience new things. So I think he saw this and was like, "Oh, amazing! I've never done this before."
He was there for a while.
Yeah, and he was taking instructions from the person who was doing it, and I think he tried like twice. He did the first one, and most people would have been like, "All right, moving on." But he looked at it and he was like, "No, I want to do this again. Oh, I think I can do it better." And then he did it again. And then the raffle ticket winners got to do it one each as well. And he was there helping them figure out how to do it as well. So that was cool. And I was there. I wasn't trying to get involved in that. I just wanted to film him. And I filmed all of the people that he did it with as well. Luckily, because none of them were filming themselves. And it makes sense. They probably wanted to focus on actually enjoying the
Participating.
experience as opposed to filming. But I know that I've been in that situation. And it annoyed me that I didn't have any record of it after I'd met a celebrity, before I was in any frequent positions to meet celebrities. So I filmed them, and then afterwards I approached them and I was like, "Hey guys, send me an email to this email address and I'll send you the footage of your kind of thing." And those dudes, they did email me one by one, and they were like, "Thank you so much." No one would have ever believed me. I was like, "Yeah, that's why I did," because no one. It's such a weird experience. Like, no one would.
I wish
believe
someone
you.
had did that for us when we were, at
Yeah.
the checkout. Oh, one thing we forgot to mention is as we were in the checkout line and Jimmy was handing us the shoes, I very nicely asked him, like, hey, can you autograph my jersey? Because I had brought our Jimmy Butler jersey to the event. And I asked him very nicely, very sweetly. And he's like, not right now. Like, I'm,
Maybe
have
later.
to, he said maybe later, but I have to finish this right now. Because there were other people, waiting in line
That
and
was
other
his
raffle
nice way of
tickets.
saying no.
Yeah, he
basically.
basically said no, but we were both wearing our big face stuff, like, and Warrior stuff. So I feel like he connected with
Yeah.
us in that moment. I
we
think
were
he
the
remembered
only
us.
people in there, other than his own team, but even not of his own team, that were wearing Big Face stuff.
And Big Face is his coffee
Is
brand.
his coffee brand, yeah.
And we love we have so much. Right now we're drinking chai from our Big Face mugs.
Yeah, yeah.
We have,
Big Face
hats,
kettle,
shirts,
and we're
a
not just
kettle.
like being crazy fans. His stuff is actually good.
Yeah,
it's
legit
genuinely
quality.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've like spoken to coffee people and watched his like interviews around coffee, and he takes it very, very seriously.
Yeah, he's a connoisseur.
Yeah.
And, puts a lot of time and attention into his craft.
So it's expensive, not expensive, but it's like high-end stuff, but it's very, very worth the quality of it.
Absolutely. So anyway, after the T-shirt portion, things seem to be winding down, and they escorted Jimmy into a back room and
Upstairs. Through the
upstairs. So
closet for, like, a
we
press
didn't
event.
know what was happening in that moment. Like, where was he going? Like, I still hadn't gotten my autograph that he said maybe he would give me later.
Yeah.
So I was hopeful, and I was like, Tam, that door's open. Like, and then without us deciding anything, I was like, let's go.
Yeah.
So we walk into a unmarked door that was open.
It was basically into the back
Storeroom.
of the store, up into the storeroom.
There was a staircase that went up. I just followed whomever was in front of me, who looked official. Like, these were all people part of his team. We get upstairs. We walk through a stock room that has like a bunch of extra shoes, and we enter.
And to be clear, there were other people who are raffle ticket winners also being led up there, because that was the third activation where you got to hear him talk about the shoe.
Yeah, but not everyone
No.
went.
No.
Or not everyone got access.
Everyone who was in the
T-shirt activation
T-shirt
group.
activation and the purchase activation group, they were done.
They all kind of dispersed.
No one like told them they can't come. They just knew that there wasn't.
I
We
think
were
it
the
was
ones that were like
it was kind of unorganized enough where, like, I think we just
blended in.
blended in and went upstairs.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad we did, because, well, when we got in there, it was just a room
We were the
full of
last ones
press.
in.
We were the last ones in.
Yeah, and people looked at us as we came in, and we just acted.
There were like
normal.
200 people up there, all of them with like cameras and microphones, and
So there was press. There was also content creators from different countries
yes,
that are specifically around sneakers. They're sneaker content creators.
and so many people,
And also amateur basketball players or semi-professional basketball players.
and a lot of people flew in from China, because this is a big deal.
The
Like
Li-Ning team was
a shoe brand, the shoe brand sent a lot of their representatives from
The
China.
designer of the shoe was there.
Oh, that was a really cool part. I liked that part. The shoot. So the way that they did it was there was a moderator or like interviewer, and then Jimmy was sitting on a chair next to him. Jimmy had his son in his lap. It was adorable seeing them interact.
His daughters were like behind him running
Yeah.
around, and he's got someone on the team who like babysits them.
Yeah.
She was having trouble.
But I think there were
keeping-
three. I think there were 2 boys and 1 girl.
I thought
I
it was
think.
1 boy and 2 girls.
Oh.
I might have.
We'll have
That's
to
probably wrong, yeah.
revisit the footage. But anyway, there was a lot of chaos
Yeah.
going, and their mics weren't working. Like, there was a lot going on, but we did take away some interesting information from that event, because he was asked about, the shoes and how they came about. One of the things we found out was his favorite colorway for his new JB4 release was the red shadow.
Green and red.
It was green and red. It's really cool.
Yeah. And then he explained why he likes that colorway.
Why did he like that colorway?
It's because green and red is the colors of Robin.
Mm-hmm.
He's that's traditionally his outfit colors. So he likes the Robin colors, leaning into that Batman thing again.
Li-Ning.
Mhm.
Li-Ning.
There you go.
Get it?
Yeah.
They brought the designer of the shoe onto the stage, and he was wearing a never before seen shoe, a Jimmy Butler shoe that Jimmy doesn't even have access to
it's
yet.
the JB5s basically.
Yeah, like I think they revealed some information that they weren't supposed to.
I think they acted like they weren't supposed to,
It's a
but they
teaser.
did because there's no way that a designer wears an unreleased shoe without someone going, "Is that an unreleased
Those
shoe?"
were so cool. They were maroon, kind of like a really deep Merlot red,
Yeah,
and looked like quite sleek and shiny.
yeah, they look really cool. Even Jimmy was like, "Damn, what are those?" And he was like, "These are your next shoe." I
Yeah.
was like, "What the hell?"
And just so everyone knows, Jimmy was wearing the same shoes that we ended up buying. So it's the white metallic with the blue
Yeah, and it
outline
worked because
trimming.
he was. It looked like the outfit he was wearing was his like Warriors training gear.
He had practiced that
They
day.
had practiced that morning for
So he
sure.
came right from practice.
Yeah.
What else did we learn at the media portion?
I think that was the main stuff. That's where he talked about not knowing that Steph was gonna wear his shoe to practice or to the game, and being surprised by that. And he talked about various other things like inspiration, and he went to China that off season, and they talked a bit about that. Yeah, that was the main list. And then they brought on certain people to sit on the empty chair next to him and ask a question. One of them was a up and coming basketball player, semi-pro. The other one was the sneaker YouTuber or content creator. I don't know what he's on, Billy maybe. To ask him a question about it, and that was it. And the designer came on and talked for a bit, and then there was some like more exec level stuff that people from Li-Ning that talked for briefly.
Yeah, and we were just mostly starstruck again because like we were within feet.
Yeah, I was
of
standing
Jimmy.
right amidst the press pool, basically.
Yeah. Let's talk about his exit. So essentially, we would have loved to get our shoes signed. We tried really hard to.
There was that one point where there was a shoe signing happening.
Yeah, so the third group of raffle winners was a family. Okay, it was a little kid.
That family that didn't buy
that
the
wasn't
thing.
prepared.
Yeah.
No, it was a different family.
Is it? Oh, okay, cool.
But like we just need like a kid in our lives to be able to take to these
exploit.
events because if I had a child with me, they would have never said no to a
but-
kid getting his shoes signed.
So it was unorganized. There were the people who were designated, you will get your shoe signed. A few of them didn't seem to be there, or they lost track of them, because we were standing right next to the people who were like sending the winners who were going to get the shoe signed out. And at one point they turned around and I was like, all right, who's next? And no
I
one
said
stepped
me.
up.
I said me.
Yeah, there
Here
was
are my
no-
shoes.
No one stepped up, and it was just awkward for a minute. And then you went, me. And the guy who works on the team with Li-Ning said, yes, take this shoe, like our shoe.
Yeah.
And then the other guy who was standing in front looked at where the shoe was coming from and went, oh no, you guys did the shopping
Checkout,
experience
yeah.
answer, because he was the one who put us in line.
Right.
So he
He
blocked us.
thwarted our attempts. We were so close to getting our shoes
Yeah.
signed.
You were upset about that.
I was because literally like there was so much dead time like in the time
No
where
one else was stepping up.
no one else was there with their shoe, and then finally a kid came forward with his pair of shoes, but it took maybe 60 seconds.
Yeah, but
in
and
that
you had
time,
the shoe out and
the shoe was out.
holding in your
I
hand.
was ready to go, but it didn't happen. So I was like really upset. And by that time, like the event was over. People were kind of swarming. It was getting really hot. Like the press was
also-
there taking pictures, and tell them who showed up.
It's also because like towards the end, right at the end, basically after the final shoe was being signed, everyone suddenly turned around. It was like that scene from Avengers Endgame where everyone's getting pummeled, and then everyone stops and starts looking at the sky, and that's when Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, comes in from outer space. That happened. Everyone suddenly turned around and was like whispering about something that was coming from behind us. And it was Jonathan Kuminga and Gary Payton II showed up to support their pal Jimmy Butler.
They love supporting Jimmy.
Yeah.
They're like
They
they
came
all
from
go
the
out to
front
dinner and
entrance.
everything. Yeah. So we didn't know what was happening, but they literally like passed right by us.
Yeah.
And they
we were
went
like, oh
and-
shit, it's them two. Also, like Kuminga, he's technically at that time he was injured.
Yeah.
So it was weird to see him walking around fine, you know.
Right.
So they came in and then they walked to the front where it was basically a photo opportunity for them to be with Jimmy, and kind of, you know, that's probably where the Warriors team promo stuff was happening.
Exactly.
So you went,
I went to try and get GP2's autograph. So I had my hat with me. like a Sharpie ready to go. I was being pushed. Like there were a lot of people, like, because these were professional photographers trying to get pictures. So like I kind of had to stand back because they're like, you need to move.
Yeah. So I was on
So
one
I was
side
told
of
to
the
move a
room.
lot.
You went to the other side.
Yeah, and you strategically stood.
Again, I knew what was going to happen.
Yeah, you did
because I
know.
looked at where he was and I was mapping it out, and I was like, if he wanted to leave, what route would he take? And I looked around the room and I thought, he's not going to take the exit on your side because there's too many people in the way. He's not going to walk back all the way where Kaminga and GP2 came from because everyone is standing in his way, and then he'd have to wait there for the lift to come and then go down through the lift, which would leave him just stationary for a really long time, which worst case scenario, I mean, most of the time nothing's going to happen, but worst case scenario, he could get swarmed. And that's just like, from a PR perspective, from a security perspective, that would have been a big issue. So I thought, oh, he's going to go through that door. That was the door that we came through. And although his entourage was big enough that it would be awkward going back, I figured that is the best place. That's most likely place he was going to leave. So I went and stood.
You stood right there, and you had the jersey ready
I had it
with
out.
your Sharpie.
Was off.
Yep.
Like the cap was off. I was holding the Sharpie out. And then he walks up, and I was like, Jimmy, would you mind signing this jersey? I'm a huge fan of yours. We're huge fans of yours. We'd love it if you signed this jersey. And then he was like, I got you, man. And then he took the jersey and signed it.
And
and no one else in that entire event got a jersey signed.
Yeah, only us.
Yeah, because I basically cornered him and was like, sign the jersey, homie.
I know, because he did say, maybe later.
Maybe later, yeah.
But that was like, I think, just such a great moment because I feel like it was all worth it, like all the standing in line and waiting. And, I think we were really lucky because we won the raffle, and it's nice that we walked away with something signed.
Yeah, we made the most of it. And also, he signed the jersey and then like thanked me and gave the jersey back and carried on walking. And then I was like, I'm just gonna carry on walking. Like I there's no way I can walk back through this crowd of people. So the only route out I have is through this stockroom. So I carry on walking and I look to my right and GP2 is walking next to me. And then I look, and it's one of those moments where you look and the other person looks at you as well. And so like me and GP2 lock eyes. And then he recognized me because I met him once before at at the office of a gaming company that he collaborates with every now and then. And he was like, oh, I saw you at the Ubisoft thing. And I was like, yes, that was me. And he was like, oh, it's good to see you again, man. And like briefly chatted. And I was like, oh, actually, I've got something for you. So I like took out our business card, the Just Us business card. So I handed it to him. I was like, I just started a podcast about the Warriors with my wife. If you ever feel like you have some time and you want to chat about gaming or like basketball, let me know. And he took it and he looked at it and he was like, oh yeah, I'll let you know if I have some time. I don't expect him to. The dude's on the road all the time and busy, but you never know.
He's a fun guy. I feel like
he's a nice guy.
He would, maybe, if he remembers that you gave him the card.
Yeah.
Or maybe we just need to meet him again.
A third time.
Yeah. Seal the deal.
But he was very polite. He's like
so nice.
I could tell he went from like kind of like on the go PR mode to when he saw me, he kind of relaxed a bit because he was like, oh, I know this person kind of. I don't really super know him, but like it's not a crazed fan who's going to attack me or anything like that. I was just like, oh, hey, good to see you, man. Good to see you again. And he was like, oh, yeah, I remember seeing you at XYZ thing. And I mentioned someone who he worked with him at that company, and I previously worked with that person like long at the company that I work for. So he left to go to the gaming company and then worked with GP2 on various things. And they're friends of ours. We know them.
That's a great connection.
Yeah. So he was like chill about it. And Kaminga was just like, I'm walking.
Kaminga doesn't talk to anyone.
Doesn't talk very much, yeah. But yeah, it was, and then we got trapped in that stockroom.
Yeah, we were like then trying to leave, actively trying to leave, although we had wanted to stay there. But I was like, we should go now because they've all left.
Not it was left, but they were like standing at the other exit point. But they were talking as a team. And I was like, okay, so the only exit I know of is through where they're standing, but I don't want to approach them right now because
Jimmy's kids were there too.
Jimmy's kids were there,
yeah,
and we didn't want to be perceived as like trying to get to him around his kids because it would make him and them uncomfortable, and it also would potentially land us in trouble. So we just kind of like stood in a corner right at the back of the stockroom until someone noticed us, and the lady came up to us and was like,
And
"Are
she's
you
like,
guys all
you
right?
can't be here.
You can't be here." And I was like, "Yeah, we're trying to leave, but we like kind of got cornered." And she was like, "Oh, okay, come with me this way." And she took us back out. So thankfully, we left without being attacked by Jimmy's security.
Yeah. And so I feel like adrenaline kept us running for about 5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
We hadn't eaten lunch. We hadn't gone to the bathroom. We hadn't had coffee.
Yep.
We, at that point, totally crashed.
Yeah.
Like after that wore off, we went across the street to a coffee shop and I was like, I need a coffee. Like I need something. Like my stomach started grumbling and I was like, we can't make it to Oakland because the other event had already started and we were so tired. And I was like, we got to get this signed jersey home. It has to be like preserved and put somewhere immediately.
It is now. It's hung up.
We framed it.
Yep.
It's framed. We have to figure out where we're going to hang it up because it's definitely not going to fit in the shrine.
No. It's bigger than the shrine.
Maybe adjacent to the shrine.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe. We'll have to figure that out. Yeah, that's our experience.
Yeah, it was good.
And we ended up in a lot of content creators posted videos on Instagram and TikTok about the event, and you could just see us in the background of like everyone's videos.
Yeah,
because we're just
like,
lurking
hanging
around
in every scenario. And Jimmy, like his main Instagram account, posted us multiple times.
They posted a picture of you.
Yeah, it was just
which was so
me,
cool.
no one else, sent a frame, just like I was the focus of the image, which was wild. I was like, oh shit. And then the Big Face account posted it as well. And then, yeah, I sent the videos to all those other kids who were like, teenagers who were doing stuff with him. And they emailed me back and they were like, thank you for actually capturing this. I totally wanted to, but I didn't want to seem weird in front of Jimmy. I was like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, no one wants to seem weird in front of Jimmy. He's just so cool.
He is very cool. But yeah, it was a really nice experience. The shoes are great. Like I've not worn them since, but I'm just waiting for an excuse. I'm tempted
Didn't you
to
go
wear
play ball the other day?
I didn't want to wear them to play ball. I've got the Sabrinas to play
Yeah.
ball. So when I went to play ball, I knew I wasn't going to play intensely. I was just trying to get like back into it because it's been a while since I've been on the court, outside court, just shooting buckets. So I was like, I'm just gonna, and I had just come out the gym, so I was like, I'm not gonna go upstairs, change my shoes, go out just to shoot a few threes, and then move on. So I just stuck to my standard trainers, my Brooks. But next time I'll be wearing my Sabrinas. But I'm looking for an excuse to wear these, maybe even next week.
Do you think you'll wear them for fashion purposes only?
I think so. I think like they are really nice, but I don't want to. I've got so many options for shoes to ball in, especially because I've like mostly broken the Sabrinas in, and I don't want to.
It takes a while to break in shoes.
I don't need to do that with these. I'm sure it'll reach the point where I've worn them enough times where I don't care anymore. And out of convenience, I'll just be like, I'm not going to change my shoes. I'll just go and play in these. But for now, they're like pristine looking. They're new. So I might just wear them for fashion. And we're also not sneaker heads in that way, whereas we're going to hermetically seal them and never...
If they were signed, we would never touch them again.
If they were signed, I wouldn't touch them again, but they're not.
They're not.
Also, we've seen the next one, so it's not like he's never going to produce these ever again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, speaking of shoes, now that we've talked about Jimmy Butler's shoes, should we talk about Steph Curry, the free shoe agent?
Yeah, so around the NBA is this segment. So before we get to that specific segment, we can quickly talk about some other things that have happened around the NBA. Number one, Giannis.
Trade rumors.
Gigantic and what does that girl say?
I don't even remember.
Yeah. There's a British woman who's like, she's from the East End of London, and she's playing Fortnite, and there was an event where a bunch of the NBA players were in Fortnite, and you could buy a skin for them to make your character look like them. And she's saying,
gigantic.
She's like, bro, who is Gigantic Antetokounmpo? It's so funny.
And what is the correct pronunciation of his name?
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yes, exactly. Antetokounmpo.
I think it's spelled A-N-T, but he doesn't say the A-N-T part. I think he says Antetokounmpo. Mm-hmm. Because in that video, there's a version of him saying it to himself in superhero costumes, which is really funny.
So let's just put it out there. We would love to have Giannis on the team. Giannis, if you're listening, come to the Warriors.
Steph Curry has been in his ear for... Steph Curry likes Giannis, and Giannis likes Steph.
Loves Steph.
Remember when they asked him who is the best player in the NBA is? And he said...
Steph Curry.
Steph Curry.
Steph Curry.
So he likes Steph.
They love each other.
Yeah. But
he has
never openly said he wants to join the Warriors. He reportedly has... Well... previously, during the last trade window, there was discussion between the Milwaukee Bucks and the New York Knicks. There's loads of...
When did that happen exactly?
That happened prior to the season starting, obviously.
Okay.
But Brian Windhorst was talking. Brian Windhorst is another analyst who keeps an eye on this stuff. Was talking about it, and both teams never expected to be having a discussion about it, but were having a discussion about it. So his kind of takeaway was Giannis must have indicated an interest in the Knicks, because the Bucks weren't targeting the Knicks as a place for him, and the Knicks weren't asking about him. So the only person who has the sway to come and say, like, Bucks talk to the Knicks is Giannis himself. So he indicated a intention of exploring the market. Ultimately, he followed up by saying, I will be in, Milwaukee for the
another
foreseeable
year.
future. Yeah. But there's also been reignited. Again, he's the kind of person where, based on Windhorst, he's not going to actively make it known like Jimmy did, where Jimmy was at Miami and hated it and wanted out. He made it very clear he no longer wanted to be there. Windhorst was saying, like, Giannis is not the kind of person to do that. He'll send enough signals to the appropriate people and let his agent take care. So he has sent signals to his agent to be like, I want out of here, potentially. And so that's why discussions are happening. The Knicks are in a rough position because they signed, is it Miles Turner or something like that, which took them out of kind of a position to trade for him during the last trade window. So maybe they'll come back, but there's apparently been an interest expressed by Giannis' side in Knicks, LA, specifically the Lakers, and I think the other one was maybe the Spurs, or I think it was the Spurs, yeah. He's been linked to the Spurs previously.
But then also the Warriors, the Hawks, like various
Warriors,
teams
the
have
Hawks
come
are
up.
The other one. The Warriors have been asking about Giannis for multiple
years.
seasons now,
Yeah.
repeatedly. So they were probably first to pick up the phone and be like, what's the deal? Let's talk.
And right now, Giannis just suffered a non-contact injury.
That coincidentally will take him out until the trade deadline.
Yeah, so a right calf strain, I think it was. And so he's not going to be doing media for a few weeks. So we won't hear from him in terms of what his intents and wishes are, but that will take us to the trade deadline in February.
Yes.
So we'll see what happens.
I expect the Warriors to try harder than they have tried for any other player to get him. The tricky thing is almost every trade scenario that people have come up with involves either us losing Draymond Green or Jimmy Butler.
I do not want to lose Draymond.
I think since that discussion has happened, because a bunch of the networks, ESPN and various podcasts, have created these potential trade things, and that has drummed up enough discussion to the point where insiders in the Warriors have spoken to various people, and then press, the people in the know, the Shamses and the Windhorses have indicated, or the whatever his name is, Brett Siegel, something like that, have indicated that the Warriors have no intention of trading Draymond. It seems like they intend to let and have Draymond finish his career in Golden State. If not because he's competing, in a high level, which he definitely still is. They also believe that he's like the heart and soul of the team to a degree, to the point where if he's gone, the organization starts to fall apart, which makes a lot of sense. I think they probably would have felt like that to an extent about Klay. And Klay obviously didn't want that. He wanted to move, and they weren't willing to give what he wanted to get him there. I mean, they offered him the equivalent of what he has now, but I think Klay had a lot going on where he wanted to leave. I don't think they're willing
Draymond doesn't want to leave.
I don't think they're willing to let Draymond leave.
Steph without Draymond is not Steph.
I think Steph without Draymond is Steph, but Steph without Draymond doesn't function as well as Steph with Draymond, to a degree where I feel like if you trade Draymond, the whole discussion about getting Steph another championship is less likely.
Yeah, but what if it was Giannis?
But Giannis doesn't play defense in the same way that Draymond does. Like, he plays good defense.
But he's
like,
more of an offensive player.
Yeah, that's what you put him in there for. And Draymond is, again, a lot of people take the piss out of Draymond currently. And I see clips from a lot of basketball podcasts where they're like, Draymond is just a role player. Because, again, they look at box scores. They don't look at impact. Or they haven't. And I'm not saying like I'm a better analyst than or whatever, but like the discussion I constantly see happening seems to disregard the fact that Draymond has an impact on the game outside of how many points he scores and how many blocks he has. Like him standing in a certain place has
Directing
the potential
traffic.
to change how an offensive player approaches, and that's not something that you can quantify in the number.
Exactly. He plays point forward, right? He plays the point guard role a lot, is directing traffic, has multiple deflections per game. They don't count screens in the box score. He's setting screens to get players open. He's generating a lot of the offense too.
A lot of people talk about how Steph and Jimmy have this gravity where once they start making moves, it pulls multiple players from the other side of from the other team away. If Steph is open, 2 players from the opposing team will always go to him because they don't want a situation where he's open enough to get the ball and shoot. Same with Jimmy. When Jimmy drives to the basket, multiple players follow him. Those are qualities that they give to those 2 players. I think Draymond has the same impact, but people don't recognize that. Where he's standing, if he's standing at a certain point, you damn well know that a certain player will look and know that Draymond is there. I'm not going to try this shit. I'm going to go a different route. He's good at pushing people to weaker sides and that kind of stuff. But he doesn't get that same kind of gravity discussion, which I think he definitely deserves.
Yeah, and he also guards he's been playing the center position for the Warriors for years in the small ball lineup.
He guarded Wembanyama.
And did a really good job.
And did a fantastic job, to the point where Wembanyama was getting frustrated. And this is a 7-foot freak that no one else can guard.
I think he's 7'6".
Yeah, no one else can guard him. But like Draymond was giving him so much shit, and he was getting pissed off.
Yeah. So ultimately, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't want the Warriors to lose Draymond. I think they would lose a piece of the heart and soul of the team.
He helps them make smart decisions. Remember, he was the person who said don't trade for Lauri Markkanen.
And thank God we didn't.
Yeah, because he was like, we'd have to give away way too much. Like, we could get him and he might improve us, but the future of the Warriors looks much bleaker if you trade all of these assets for Lauri Markkanen.
Yeah.
So he's smart. He's smart from a business perspective.
He has an incredible basketball IQ, but also business sense IQ from a financial standpoint.
Yeah.
If you haven't already, listen to the Draymond Green podcast, but not if it's going to detract you from listening to this podcast.
But then again, people with high basketball IQs aren't safe right now.
No,
as
they're
the
not.
Next story
Yes. Oh my goodness. Chris Paul. CP3.
Probably, I would say a basketball genius.
He's a veteran. He's been in the league for years.
For so long.
Longer than Steph.
Yeah.
I think he's one of the most tenured players right now in the league.
Yeah, never won a championship, but he's the kind of player that you bring onto your team when they are in trouble and he will pull you out of it.
Yeah, whip them into shape.
Yeah, and that's what he played for the Warriors briefly in one of the worst trades of all time, but still, like, we gave up Jordan Poole for him and various other things as well, but he had an impact on the team at the very least.
Yeah,
like
so he was on the Clippers, note the past tense.
That's one of his, like, the legendary runs.
He used
Clippers
to be on the
and
Clippers
OKC.
When Blake Griffin was on the team. Like, they all had, like, a huge,
Lob
playoff
City.
run. It was a great team. But he's been on maybe 10 or so different teams in the league.
He's rescued at many teams in his time.
And so he, decided to reunite with the Clippers and announced his retirement, actually. So
He's
he
doing
announced...
the same thing that Dame is doing at Portland, where a veteran player who's known for having a legacy with a team is going back to that team to walk off into the sunset with them. It's a nice story.
It's a beautiful story, and everyone's really happy for him that he announced his retirement. That last season that you get after you've announced your retirement is really special. You get to go to every arena you played in. Usually there's jersey swaps, there's celebrations for those, especially since he played on so many teams. Like, he would have gotten the proper send off.
It's when every fan base recognizes your contribution to the sport.
Yeah.
If you're a normal human being, when that moment comes, whether you're rivals or not, you recognize it, you stand up and you give him the standing ovation. It's what Kobe got that in every arena he was in. Like Jordan, same. Steph will get it. Regardless of where he's playing, the opposing team, their fan base will stand up and clap for him.
Of course.
So you get to enjoy that. And I bet you he was looking forward to that.
Yeah. But a few days ago, the Clippers were on a road trip, and CP3
In Miami.
in Miami. CP3 took to Instagram. He posted a story that said, "They sent me home."
Yeah.
Dot dot dot.
The Clippers cut CP3.
In the middle of the night at 3 a.m. He got I think the GM of the team came to visit him on the road trip and basically said, "You're done." And now all these stories are coming out that he was not a good fit on the team because he was challenging players and the coaching staff. Ty Lue is the head coach of the Clippers right now. And I guess the coach hadn't spoken with Chris Paul for weeks. Because they weren't seeing eye to eye.
It feels like a power struggle. And I don't know. I feel like it's more about the coaching staff. Because if you're a player on that team, you respect Chris Paul. Even if you don't like him, you respect him enough to know that when he speaks, you listen. Having said that, that team is made up of a lot of egos right now. James Harden, like if you watched Starting Five new season, you will see how up his own arse James Harden is. He's a great player, and he deserves to be up his own arse because he's, one of a kind generational talent. But you can see that he's got an ego. The other person on that team
Kawhi Leonard.
is Kawhi Leonard, who
doesn't care
he don't
about
give
anything.
a shit about anything about anyone. Like, he's had a rough history. He's also embroiled in some real scandals right now, with his whole planting the trees, getting money off the books kind of thing. So he apparently has an ego, but is just not showing it. Like,
It's a dysfunctional team.
It's a
The
dysfunctional
Clippers
team.
have always been dysfunctional. I'd say this iteration probably one of the most.
Nevertheless, those players, you have to imagine, have respect for CP3. Like, even the players who hate him have respect for him. Draymond does not like CP3, or did not like CP3 for a really long time. They had a back and forth, but he put that aside when they were looking to bring him into the team and said bring him in because he understands what CP3 is and the respect he commands.
Yeah, and I think, players and coaching staff were not ready to hear what CP3 had to say. They just want to continue losing.
Yeah,
I
I can guarantee he went in there and said, "You guys are ass. This coaching staff is not figuring it out. Here's what we should be doing." And I think that the egos that got hurt are the people who were in those positions and didn't like being undermined by someone who, in their mind, they should be able to tell what to do.
He rocked the boat so much that he got kicked off the team.
And maybe we can't act parasocial and act like we know what CP3 is like behind closed doors, but he doesn't seem like an unreasonable person.
No, and I feel like, he was on the Warriors. I think we would know if something had happened because we do kind of hear the ins and outs of the team and are close enough that we would know.
And there's also videos of him on previous teams talking to his teammates when he's had like these moments of like contention and aggressiveness, and there's one video of him where he's apologizing to another player to be like, "I know I'm difficult to deal with," and he's on the verge of tears. Like, he looks like he's trying to show like, hey, this comes from a good place. So he's not above admitting he's wrong as well.
We've also heard that he did this season apologize to the players on his team.
Yeah.
So he admits when he's wrong, and maybe he doesn't go about it in the best ways or adapts in the right ways, but
he's from a different era of basketball as well.
in the tough era, right?
The non-soft era, as they call it.
Yeah. And the players these days are very soft.
I think the coaching staff are also soft.
Yeah, coaching. I mean, everyone's on the chopping block. We've seen so many changes with coaching staffs. I think everyone is scared.
And also, like, their coach is currently Ty Lue, who played in the NBA.
Yeah, who knows if Ty Lue has respect? I
feel like he's the kind of person where he's like, I played in the NBA. You shouldn't be able to tell me I know how to do this. Even if you are like washed up and you play a different kind of, like, in that situation, the mental calculus you have to make is, I played, I'm no longer playing. And if you didn't have an ego, you would look at CP3 and say, like, he played, he's still playing. I should probably listen to what he has to say. But I don't think Ty Lue is that kind of person. And also, Steve Ballmer runs that team, right? Fucking insane human being who's been doing this weird shit that got, Kawhi in trouble to a degree. And he made this new stadium that is a fucking weird place to be. But yeah, I don't think those are two people who are willing to say, all right, CP3, we know you're a legend, let's listen to you.
Yeah.
But now CP3 is just cut loose. Kind of the worst way to
end his career.
I don't know where he's going to go, but he came to the Clippers partly because also he wanted to be close to his family.
Yeah, his family. So his family has stayed in LA while he has moved to different teams, which is so tough.
That's rough.
That's really rough, especially he's on the road all the time. Like, he barely gets to see his family. So he really wanted to end his career and his last season in a place where he could be with his family during home stretches.
Which creates kind of two possibilities. Either he believes that he wants to make the money he wants to make and finish his career at a team that he is, going to give him what he feels like he's worth and goes to any team. Or he decides that he wants to stay close to his family, and the choices of teams are California teams, which means what? Sacramento, Warriors, Lakers. Maybe at most he can stretch to state nearby. Or he decides
he's just like, I'm done.
He's done, which I feel like would be real shitty. Because who's going to give him a statue? Who's going to retire his jersey? If you would think it would be the Clippers. But after this, the way it ends, surely they can't give him a statue, because that would be like disrespectful. You cut him on his final season. Like, it would have to be OKC.
There's no coming back from this for the Clippers.
The Clippers are basically like, they burnt that bridge and they kind of threw away the history they have. So it's up to OKC now to kind of step up and be like, you were pivotal to us as well. But I don't think OKC is signing him.
Yeah.
OKC's also got a first round pick.
Yeah.
And the word is, people are terrified because they are currently
the number
the
one
champions,
team.
number one teams. And so they could get a Giannis if they wanted to. But yeah, that's that. That's around the league. So now we can quickly go to the topic that we were meant to start with, which is...
we're going to do a quick sneaker section. I know we've been talking about sneakers a lot this episode. We talked about
it's a
Jimmy
fun
Butler's.
section.
It is.
Because the context is Steph Curry ended his arrangement, his partnership with Under Armour, which more has come out about. And the last thing I read, which I'm not sure is 100% true, is there is a female college player that he really likes, that he thinks is a really good player, that he wanted to have signed to Under Armour. And there was discussion about that. And Under Armour signed a different female WNBA player, or a college player, as their first college player. And it wasn't the one that he recommended, because that player was signed to his label. So he was like, I told you I wanted this player from this kind of college league on my label, and she's the one he wanted is also signed to his business now. So he likes her so much that he put her on the 30 brand. So that's one of the reasons apparently that it all fell apart.
All they had to do was listen to him.
But since then, he's gone on this kind of like sneaker
I love
tour
what he's
where
doing.
He's doing the equivalent of like Princess Diana's revenge dress, where after it came out like that Prince Charles was cheating, she just dressed as hot as she could repeatedly. And that is what he's doing now, where he's just going to different games and he's wearing specific shoes that are targeted. They have a story behind them for the most part. And we're going to run through the shoes and as best we can the stories. I actually got a lot of this information from a website, which I've forgotten the name of it right now, but I think it's called Sneaker Go. I'll double check while you talk about this because I do want to credit them.
Yeah, so he has already wore the Nike Kobe 6 Mambasita shoes. So this was a day after the announcement of his split with Under Armour. He wore the black and white Mambasita Sweet 16 shoes, and these were specifically made to honor Kobe's daughter, Gigi Bryant. So obviously a very special pair of shoes.
The website is Soul Retriever.
Soul Retriever.
Thank you to Soul Retriever for a lot of this information.
Didn't he wear the Kobe's at, was it in LA that he wore them? Yeah, so he's trying to, whichever shoes he's wearing, he's making it relevant to the team he's playing against or the arena or like
or a
the
legend
vibe.
from that team.
Exactly. Yeah. So wearing the Kobe's in LA, I feel like is so cool.
Yeah, so Nike Kobe 6 Mambasita as a tribute to Kobe and Gigi Bryant. Then he followed that up in Orlando with the Shaquille O'Neal Reebok Shaqnosis.
Shaqnosis.
Those are obviously paying homage to retired NBA champion and supposedly all-around nice guy Shaquille O'Neal.
Shaqtin' a Fool.
Shaqtin' a Fool. That was followed by
Dwayne Wade's Stingray Way of Wade 1. He wore these in Miami. They're called the Purple Stingray shoes.
Yeah, obviously, in Miami, Dwayne Wade is a legendary presence. Not legendary enough to get a statue that looks like him, though. I don't know how they haven't corrected that yet. That was followed by the Nike Air Penny 2 Black Vaults, which is a shout out to Penny Hardaway. It's the Black Vault colorway, which, cool. Paying homage to another former player, legend.
Then he wore the Air Jordan 3 Retro Oregon Ducks sneaker.
Yeah, so that was just a Portland connection. Obviously, he's Davidson College alum, but he's repping Oregon Ducks gear.
Very cool.
Very cool. Then, we talked about this, but he wore the Li-Ning JB4 Batmans. First time since, I think that was after the Under Armour split, this was one of the first ones that he wore and caught his teammate Jimmy Butler off guard with that.
Yeah, and then he wore the Air Jordan Flu Game sneakers. So Michael Jordan, the shoes that he wore during the Flu Game in '97. Yeah. When Michael Jordan had the flu, still played the game, and had an incredible game.
Yeah, against the Utah Jazz, and he wore that against the Utah Jazz. Yeah.
Wow.
Which is a level of pay
that's
I'm
gutsy.
Into. Yeah. He also wore the Air Jordan 14 Lost Shots, which is the Jordan decided to wear these in his final game as a Chicago Bulls player in the NBA Finals, which is, I believe, controversial because Nike didn't want him to wear that.
Why not?
I have no idea, but he's like, I'm Michael Jordan. Shut your ass up.
Yeah.
So yeah, his last shot taken as a member of the Bulls was wearing these red Air Jordan 14s against the Utah Jazz. So Steph wore those in Utah as well. That's wild. And then
he, in an homage to Travis Scott, wore the Travis Scott Air Jordan 1 Retro shoes. Travis Scott was born in Texas, and this game was against the Rockets.
Yes. So Houston Rockets.
Yep.
Then he wore the Puma Halley 1 Hibiscus colorway. I believe this was also in Houston where he swapped to these. It's Tyrese Halliburton's Puma Halley 1s. Halliburton obviously was a teammate of his on Team USA this past Olympics where they secured the gold medal. Halliburton obviously didn't play a single second of that, but he won a gold medal, and he is legendary when you don't do any homework but still get an A tweet. That's from this.
Yep.
Which is great. Yeah.
What's the next one, Tam?
The next one, I actually couldn't find much of I'm sure there is one, but I was rushing and couldn't find it. It's the Amy Leon Door, which is a very high-end brand, I believe.
Sounds fancy.
And it's the collaboration with New Balance 550. He wore those in a natural green. I'm not sure what the history there is. Some of them are just like shout-outs to certain companies, I guess. And the next one is like a shout-out to James Harden, because they are the
Adidas Harden Volume 10.
Yeah, so that's a James Harden Connect. I believe also going back to the Shaq stuff, Shaq is with Reebok, and Reebok is one of the companies that's apparently in discussion with Steph. Shaq has talked about this, I believe, and he's excited about the potential there. So maybe he'll end up on that. And then the latest one was the Nike Air Zoom Flight, the glove, which is a nod to Supersonics legend Gary Payton, who is the father of the Warriors, currently Steph Curry's teammate, and one of my favorite players, Gary Payton II. And that one's timely because Nike are actually bringing back the glove next year.
Yeah, and Gary Payton's nickname was the glove.
The glove.
And now GP2 is Young Glove.
Young Glove, yeah. Gary Payton's a fun. If you ever want to see Gary Payton up to no good, I think it's from last season, you can watch him and KD just shouting at each other. He's in the crowd and KD's on the court, and they're having like a straight up, like a verbal back and forth, like insult contest. And KD knows what he's doing, and Gary Payton knows what he's doing as well. They're both shit talkers, and they recognize that, and they're just having fun with it. But KD's like, you're down here, and I'm on the ceiling in my career. And it's like really funny to see.
GP2 is the kind of guy, if you watch some of his bloopers, like at the free throw line, he untied Jordan Poole's shoes.
Yeah, Gary Payton was a menace.
Yeah.
He would start shit with people. He was creating beef. Gary Payton II does the same thing by being mischievous.
In a comical way.
Yeah. He's untying shoes. He's like getting in people's faces and like acting like he doesn't know what happened after he's like dunked on them. It's just really fun. Gary Payton's fun. That's why I like him as a player. Although there is some controversy with him right now.
What is it?
It's a kind of a funny one, but it's also kind of weird. Someone at the last game, he was on the bench.
Oh,
with
I saw this.
Kuminga,
Yeah,
and someone sitting behind him like leaned forward with the phone
to get
and
a
was
selfie.
to selfie, but was recording. And Kuminga and Gary Payton did not know that was happening, and they were talking about some woman that they DM'd, that Gary Payton DM'd, and was like trying to smash with,
Yeah.
which is really funny.
It is very interesting.
Up to no good, Gary Payton.
Good luck, guys. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in to this episode. We covered a lot today, but
Yeah.
I feel like we've done some cool things, and we hope to do more during the course of the season.
Yeah, we're going to be recording. I don't know when this is going to go up because we are in a. If the Warriors are in a back-to-back, we are in a back-to-back, which means we have to do a recap later today, which we'll record for the game in which it has just been announced by Anthony Slater that Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, Seth Curry, and DeAnthony Melton will not be playing in Cleveland.
And Steph also is not playing.
Yeah, Steph is not playing, and Al Horford is not playing either.
Oh, so nobody's playing. Okay,
Remember
great.
when I texted you yesterday and I said the Golden State Warriors are out against the game?
Yeah, like
against
who?
Cleveland?
They're going to need to call people up from
Pat
the G
Spencer's about to torch Cleveland
League.
on his
Can't wait
own.
to see his legacy
I hope
game.
so. I hope this is the game where he just goes insane.
His career high 17. I would love to see him get like 50 points today.
I would love that. Maybe Kuminga will try something and try and play this time. I miss like early season Kuminga where he was doing some really clever plays and being a facilitator and playing well. Now he's doing a thing where he's just standing around again and trying to bait fouls. But so we'll have to record after that. So we'll give you a recap of that. You'll probably hear that before you hear this. And then we have another game tomorrow against Chicago Bulls, who are on a shout out to my good friend Alex Shea, who many, many weeks ago said, bro, the Bulls might be legit. They might be good this season because they were on a 5-0 run. And then texted me yesterday and he said, may you never know the mediocrity of the Chicago Bulls like we have. So hopefully we beat them tomorrow. Either way,
I would hope we do.
Either way, either I get happy that we beat them and I'm happy and we're happy, or Alex finally catches a break and he's happy, in which I can respect that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So back to back. We'll see you soon to talk more about other things that we're doing and other events that we're going to. Nothing notable planned at the moment.
No.
Unless you've planned something.
Well, we're going to be starting to I know I keep saying this about like doing our like actual video coverage. I have been like thinking about that stuff and planning some stuff and buying equipment that will make it easier for us. So soon we're going to start delving into some of the more San Francisco Bay Area culture stuff and connecting that to basketball and the Warriors very, very soon. I've been doing a lot of research and planning around what kind of content I want us to make, and it's starting to take form. It's starting to take shape. And this is something that we should have done more of prior to the season starting, but the conception of this podcast was very, very, very late. Very
You know what?
minute.
We're trying our best.
Yeah,
we both have
decided
full-time
to do this
jobs.
like a few weeks just before the season started.
We lead busy lives.
I would
and
love to quit my job and do this full time, but it's going to be
He's kidding.
some
He's
time.
kidding. He needs stable income. Yay.
Yay.
Yay for stable income.
I mean, until this, if this ever becomes a big enough deal, who knows? You know.
Yeah, we'll see. So if you want to help us make this big, check us out.
Share us with your friends.
Yeah, share word of mouth, text the link to your friends, comment, like, and subscribe. Check out our TikTok. Actually, the TikTok that I made of the 1975 championship team and meeting the players went viral. We got a lot of comments, likes, and views on that, so check that out. And very soon we're going to be posting about our experience at the Jimmy Butler event. So
Yeah, I'm
you'll
going to
see
take all
that
the
too.
footage that I recorded and try and edit into something. I'm not a video editor by trade, but I have enough knowledge and understanding on how to do it that I can try and make it work. But I've edited videos in my time. It's just not my main thing, so it takes me a little longer than most people.
Yeah, and my experience is editing clips on TikTok.
Yeah.
So, but I've learned a lot. So check out and tell me how you think I'm doing so far.
Yeah, but share, like, and subscribe on the platforms: YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Just us on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Just
Just
us.
us.